Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we shine a light into the shadowy corners of corporate filings. And today we're diving into reAlpha Tech Corp for a report that's a bit like finding an extra ticket in your pocket, a surprise piece of news to close out July 2025. So what's the big story here? Well, reAlpha Tech Corp announced they've successfully closed a significant funding round. This wasn't just any funding round though, it was a registered direct offering combined with a concurrent private placement of warrants. Let's break this down. The company sold over 14 million shares of its common stock. That's the basic ownership stake in the company at 35 cents a share. Think of it like this, they're issuing more slices of the company pie. This alone brought in a decent chunk of change, but they also sweetened the deal by offering warrants. These warrants are like options to buy more stock in the future at a set price, in this case also 35 cents. They've tossed in the ability to buy up to another 14 million shares through these warrants, adding potential for even more cash down the road. Altogether, after all the fees and expenses were paid, this offering brought in about $4.5 million. That's the real money the company has in hand to go and do whatever it plans to do next. The company put out a press release to let everyone know this deal was officially done, and we've got that press release attached as an exhibit to this report. It's worth noting that reAlpha Tech Corp identifies itself as an emerging growth company. This means they get to use some relaxed rules compared to older, more established companies, particularly when it comes to financial reporting. You can see here their common stock trades on the Nasdaq under the symbol AI. That's sort of their public identity on the stock market. The report itself is signed off on July 23rd, 2025 by Michael J. Logozzo, the Chief Executive Officer. He's the top person steering the ship at reAlpha Tech Corp. Now let's think about what this $4.5 million means for reAlpha Tech Corp. This filing doesn't give us a detailed breakdown of how they plan to use this money, but typically companies in this sort of position use new capital for advancing their technology, expanding their operations, or maybe covering some of their ongoing expenses to keep the business running smoothly. For an emerging growth company like reAlpha Tech Corp, securing this kind of funding is crucial. It provides them with the resources to compete, innovate, and grow. Without it, they might struggle to keep up with larger, more established players in their industry, or to bring their products or services to a wider market. The dual nature of this offering, with both a direct stock sale and the warrants, is a common strategy. The direct sale immediately injects cash, while the warrants offer the potential for additional capital if the company's stock price performs well in the future. Investors are essentially getting a bit more for their money with the hope that the company's value will increase, making those warrants valuable. However, it's important to remember that selling more shares, even if it brings in needed cash, can dilute the ownership stake of existing shareholders. If you owned a certain percentage of the company before this offering, your percentage might be smaller now because there are more shares out there. Looking at this from a bigger picture perspective, this funding round signals a level of confidence from sophisticated investors, the institutional accredited investors mentioned. They wouldn't put their money in unless they believed in the company's potential. But as always, the proof will be in how reAlpha Tech Corp uses this capital to drive future growth and create value for its shareholders. It's a step forward, but the real journey is just beginning. Alright, so what's my take on this? reAlpha Tech Corp has successfully landed a significant funding boost, which is definitely a positive sign. It shows they've got a compelling story or a business plan that appeals to investors. The addition of warrants suggests a strategy to potentially raise even more capital later on, tied to the company's future success. However, the key here, as with any company, is execution. They've got the money, now they need to deploy it wisely. For an emerging growth company, a critical risk is always market adoption and competition. They need to ensure this capital helps them gain a stronger foothold and fend off rivals. Ultimately, this filing tells us reAlpha Tech Corp is actively pursuing growth and has secured the financial fuel to do so. The immediate impact is increased liquidity, allowing them to invest in their operations. The long-term impact depends entirely on their strategic decisions and market reception. It's a promising development, but shareholders will be watching closely to see how this newly acquired capital translates into tangible business results. What do you think about this funding round for reAlpha Tech Corp? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to Corporate Decoder for more insights into the financial world. You can also join our Discord community for more in-depth discussions, and that link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.